missing someone. Love with all your heart. Missing someone. Love with heart.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So this week I am going to do a creative color transformation for you guys. This client has been a client of mine for a few years now, and she usually waits a bit of time before we do her roots, but luckily her roots lighten really well, so it's totally fine. But because she waits so long in between her appointments, we do foils. And we kind of do a really heavy foil on her rather than a full solid bleach out because she waits so long. But in the end, you'll see after I highlight her and everything that it pretty much looks solid. So for her color, I definitely started in the nape and the neck, and I detailed her hairline. And pretty much the whole way throughout her whole head, I will be slicing and taking very thin sections and leaving little negative space in between my foils. So if you've seen all my other videos, you know that I will start at the nape, do diagonal backs, and then work my way in towards like a mohawk section, as you can see here, and take this center section all the way to the front hairline of her hair. And I find that this just saves me a lot of time. Rather than splitting the back into two sections, I just do it in one and then connect the front and the back in just that one side section, as you'll see later. And then as far as my products that I'm using, I am using the Blonde Me lightener from Schwarzkopf. This one is my go-to lightener for lightening all majority of my clients, depending if we're doing foils or not, or balayage. So I do like to mix that lightener, a weaker bowl, the very first bowl that I use right at the nape, and then the rest of the head I pretty much just use 20 volume throughout the rest. And she is gonna lift extremely well because I already know her hair and I know it lifts well, even though she waits pretty long in between her appointments. So I have no worry that her hair will be able to lift to a nice clean level 9 and 10, so that we can put another beautiful creative color on her hair right after that. So this client, her roots, I would say she waited about, I want to say like 10 months before coming back in. And normally if a client was like a level 3, I'd be like, oh my god, you're waiting way too long in between to get your roots done. But this client particularly, she's about, I would say like a level 6, and she kind of has like a finer hair texture. It's not too fine to where it gets like too knotty or like tangled and stuff, but it is on the finer side and it lifts extremely well. Like I never have a problem lifting her hair. So I don't mind her waiting this long, and this is kind of a client that can get away with having creative color like this in kind of like a low maintenance way, because normally creative color or fashion tones that are bright are not really considered low maintenance. But for this kind of client where her roots lighten very well, the color fades really pretty on her, I would say that this is a client where she can get away with it, and this is a good candidate to have creative color in a low maintenance manner. But when I say low maintenance, I mean as far as coming in to get her roots done. Another thing I want to mention is she does refresh her hair color at home by herself with other color that I have approved of her using, because I don't have any trouble removing it. And it doesn't really ever interfere with whatever color scheme she wants to go for. Every time she comes in, she's always very accommodating to whatever she's faded to. So I never really have a problem. We're never really fighting or removing any of the tones that's already in her hair. So I told her it's totally fine for her to refresh the color since she waits so long in between her color appointments. Also, guys, I apologize for these clips. They're a bit blurry because they keep auto-focusing on me rather than her hair. But basically what I'm doing is I'm pretty much just slicing her hairline. And I do quite a bit of slices with no negative space until like I reach the end of her bangs, because she does have like a long face frame type of bang, and I want to reach the end of it and make that part really solid. And then once I feel like it's kind of getting to the end of that longer bang area, that's when I continue to incorporate a little bit of negative space in between my slices. So again, here I am slicing the hairline. You can see I am not weaving because she likes it to be as solid as possible. She wants it to look like we do a bleach and tone, even though we don't. This is kind of like my fake it bleach and tone application, I guess you would say. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, that I don't mind her refreshing her hair color at home. This only really applies by the client and what products they're using at home. Sometimes I do try to have my clients stay away from doing color themselves at home, because a lot of times their hair can get really stained, or if I know that they're someone who likes to change their hair color drastically, it's not a really great idea. So it really matters what kind of client they are and all that. So I kind of determine that after getting a feel of what type of client they are, and what their hair can take as far as how the color takes the hair and how it removes on the hair as well too. But we have never had an issue on her. But if a client ever did have problems to where they refresh their hair at home and themselves and it was really hard for me to take it out, then I would definitely not recommend them do their own hair color at home. But yeah, I would just say that's just case by case, depending on the client and then depending on the products that they use. Okay, so here is my pretty much last section on the side. So I'm pretty much connecting that front to the back center section, and this is probably my favorite part, when I realized that I could just do the back section in just one and connect the front and side like this and save so much time. It was literally game changing. I went from foiling, I would say like a little over an hour, to if I do something more dimensional, I can even foil a client in like 45 minutes. It really just depends, but having this sectioning pattern, I can use it in so many different ways on so many different clients to create all different types of looks, from having a client being super dimensional, or having a client be something really solid like this, to where we're kind of faking a bleach and tone. And that is why I seriously love this sectioning, because it's super versatile in the way that you can just use it for whatever look you're going for, and all you got to change up is your weave pattern and spacing. But as far as everything else, it gets you through the whole head super quickly. I'm not leaving out any hair at all. I'm just being a little bit smarter as far as how much hair goes into my sections. And again, this technique that I'm doing and showing you guys is something that I've just lately been loving. Who knows what I'll be doing in like 5 years or so, if I'll keep doing this or if I find something else that I like. But at the moment, right now, for my work, this is what I've been loving. And I find that it works really well with all of my clients, and I don't have to overthink it. I feel like this is such a simple technique that you can use on almost everybody and just customize it by tweaking little things here and there to create whatever they're asking for. And I hope that you guys can tell by all the videos that I've been posting, I pretty much do the same sectioning pattern, but the looks that I'm doing all look really different in different ways of toning and sectioning. But yeah, I would say that this just makes it very simple and makes it as if I don't even have to fully think where I section the last part or where this piece goes, because every sectioning is pretty much the same. It's just a matter of how I weaved and spaced it out. And also, I'm not trying to say that doing different types of sectioning patterns is bad. I'm just saying right now this is kind of what I love to do, and I find that just works really well for my type of clientele and the way that I'm doing my clients, because I go through, I would say I take on about like maybe 3 to 4 colors a day. And when you're doing colors like this back to back and you're looking for your sectioning, if you don't really quite remember what you did on the client, it can take up a lot of time, especially when you have other clients lined up. So this just makes it a whole lot easier. You already know what you've been doing and what works for you, and to have this as like the technique that you do for majority of your clients, but just kind of customize it in different ways according to what they're asking for, just makes it super easy to retouch up. Anyway, so here you can see I'm pulling out her foils. We lifted her to a beautiful level 9 and 10. And after this, we're going to shampoo her, condition her ends just a teeny bit, and then blow dry her so that we can put on some Danger Jones semi-permanent hair color, which is going to be her creative color. Alrighty, so we are going to move on to the fun part now. I'm going to be using the Danger Jones semi-permanent color line, and lately this is the new semi-permanent color line that I have been loving for all of my clients. And for the colors that we're going to be using, she wanted a lime green, so I am using just straight Adrenaline, which is their neon-y lime green for the front. And I sectioned that out first because I want to apply that first. So I'm going in and applying just like I would with any other semi. But the great thing about this semi compared to other ones is that this one has so much pigment and it doesn't get like conditionery, like if you rub it in too much, it doesn't get kind of white like some other colors that we've used before. So I find that this one just works a little bit better and is easier to apply. So for the back color, I'm going to be doing a mixture of Solitude, which is their dark blue, and then I mixed in some Libertine, which is their dark purple tone, and a little bit of Pavement, which is their gray tone. And we wanted to create like a bluish purple smoky tone. And since she used to have split dye, one side of her head is more purple and one side is a bit more green. So even though we're putting one formula on the whole backside, it is going to look a little bit different on each side just because the canvas that we're working with is a little bit different. But she was totally fine with that, and we're just here to kind of give some contrast to that lime green money piece. Also, real quick, I want to talk about the sectioning of her lime green money piece. I did section purposely a little bit behind the ear, according to where her layers were. She has a bit of a face frame, so I did take that lime green a little bit further back, and I'll do this and kind of just show the client how much of the money piece they really want to see. Alrighty guys, so here is the finished look. She absolutely loved the way that this came out. I feel like the back darker color came out super beautiful. It came out like a denim bluish tone on that greener side, and then came out a little bit more purpley on the right side. And then the pop of Adrenaline in the front was just the cherry on the top. It looks so amazing against her skin tone, and I love the contrast against the bluish purple that we did in the back. I feel like it complements it so well and creates such a funky vibe. Alrighty guys, that is it for this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, I will talk to you guys next week.